Hello, this is Sheshachana from Ashgabat, Mysore. Today, continuing the subject which I had done many days back, which I have to complete actually. I have done for the planet Sun, Moon, and Mars. This is about the planetary positions for understanding married life. Today, let us understand the position of Mercury. I have written down the points, it's easier for me to discuss, I don't have to refer my notes. And usually, for married life, I take these three houses which are which includes the ascendant, and also these three houses which are the opposite houses, the opposition, or we usually call this, I call this, you know, if it's well posited, then a good coupling, a very good coupling. I have just given you the example. I have just taken the example of Pisces as the Lagna, but here it is immaterial, whatever the Lagna is. I'm just telling you here that you can see that there is infinity here. Love is infinite if it is very well balanced. Married life will be as like this, which will continuously revolve around aspirations, the wealth or what we look forward to in our life, service and competitive spirit as to whether this is right, this is wrong, all these discretionary power, all these things come here. Then our desires, our emotions, and the way we want to live our life. So that is the 12th house. So let's discuss this thing with regard to Mercury and its placement. I have just given you some points here. These are all some major points. Mercury is a spontaneous planet. It gives spontaneity if it is placed in the ascendant. Manipulative, people keep asking me, I keep getting messages, keep telling that, sir, I am having Mercury in my ascendant. I am a Gemini. So, Gemini is the sign of Mercury. I am a Virgo. I am not cunning. I am very honest. I am dead straight. I am talking about a manipulative Mercury, which can become manipulative if it is associated with a retro benefic planet like Jupiter, or it's associated with Rahu, it's associated with any other planet. Easily to tell lies, it has to be associated with a negative Chandra, that is Moon. So, pure Mercury, why will that planet tell any lies? Because it knows how to tackle the situation. So, person who knows how to tackle situations will never lie. So, I am talking about Mercury in all its aspects. I am not only talking about pure Mercury here. I will be telling you when it actually becomes, a little negative, when it will become positive, when it is true, pure. All these things, let us keep discussing. Spontaneous. Mercury is spontaneous. He is very fast. So, manipulative, cunning, dishonest, carefree. Mercury doesn't get attached to anything. It's like the salient features of the elemental Mercury itself. It doesn't easily touch anything. It rolls up and runs. So it's like that. So they are carefree. They don't get attached to things emotionally. They are not that emotional. I think it's somewhere here. They are not that emotional. I keep telling them unemotional. Yeah, in the 8th house. So when it is in the Lagna, carefree, a little selfish. Yes, Mercury always first thinks of itself. Thinks too much. Too much of pondering about something will actually, make you restless. So Mercury is a restless planet, a brilliant planet. So it attracts through knowledge. The opposite gender gets attached to Mercury because the person has knowledge. So, what do you look in your husband or your wife? What do you look up and see that, yeah, I love this particular trait, I love this particular character, I love this person because of his knowledge, his general knowledge. So Mercury is a very, very good planet in general knowledge. They know things, and his wit. He can come out of situations wherein, maybe he has not created the situation, but he can come out of the situation very fast. So this particular beautiful intellect of Mercury attracts the opposite gender. The opposite gender can be kept along with the Mercury because of this major factor, that his brilliance to handle things or her brilliance to handle life. So that is very important. And Mercury does not like dumb people. That's what they call others, Mercurians. The word itself, Mercurian, like the Solomon, very intelligent they are. So, or if it is negatively posited, they think that they are very intelligent. So, let us take both the perspective of Mercury. Usually, they are very intelligent. When they are pure Mercury, very intelligent, they are not even bothered about the opposite gender. They simply keep going ahead with regard to their studies, with regard to their research and everything. But if it is a little associated with the other planet, they start comparing themselves. So, when the person comes to know that there are other people whom he can easily fool, then he becomes manipulative. So he takes advantage of his intelligence. So I have seen many cases where the husband takes advantage over his wife's innocence. Dumbness does not mean that they are really dumb. Dumbness also means that they ignore, they fully trust the other person. I don't have to call that being dumb, but I will call that they have fully trust, they have surrendered, they love the person so much. But Mercury will, in the negative aspect of Mercury, the Mercurian will take advantage of that particular trust. So that's a negative aspect of Mercury being in the ascendant. If it is badly posited, these people know how to, manipulate and be cunning. So that's the negative aspect of Mercury in the ascendant for married life. I'm talking. These are the behavioral characteristics which we have to talk for married life. So, if the opposite, that is the spouse, has a slow moving sober planet like Saturn, these people can easily, command, demand, and rule over them, which actually shows a disparity. It's very unequal. But if this Mercury is in the spouse's ascendant, and the other one, the boy or the girl, has a bright shining sun there, it's extremely difficult for Mercury to win over Sun. Sun is very adamant, very straightforward, and righteous. They are very, karmically, Sun is a sattvic planet, very righteous, but it's a little rude, but very strong. They will never bend so easily. They also have the same brilliance and the knowledge. They have Tejas, the brilliance of, going ahead of knowledge. They get the knowledge, process it, and they are very much ahead of it. So Sun is the only planet which actually can, give a strong opposition to Mercury. Other than that, other planets, suffer a lot because of the Mercury's brilliance if it is negatively posited. Mercury is negatively posited in the Lagna. Secondly, the second house. If Mercury is in the second house, I am once again telling it is just, symbolically represented that it's Pisces Lagna, it can be for any Lagna. They love property, they love to earn money, they love their attachments, the car, the properties, the value added to their life, all that. They love wealth. So they love property, but they want a small family. They do not want a big family. And usually they have a small family because it is Kutumbasthana. So once you come to know about this, you cannot, give a girl who has a second house with a big family into a family who wants a small family. That and that does not suit very well. So when you are doing marriage matching, it should be that both of them should be of somewhat of the same, have the same kind of requirement in their lives. So a small family and they cannot handle groups and they cannot handle huge number of people at the same time, and they are little shy from bigger groups. So that is what is Mercury in the second house. They are talkative, they are joyful, they are young in thoughts, sometimes childish. So this is a very important point. So when Mercury is in the second house, these people tend to be more very naive and childish. It's a pure Mercury in the second house. Very nice thing to happen. They have the youth preserved even till their old age. They look young, they talk young, and they have that, that nice, beautiful connect to children. So that's a good thing with regard to one aspect, but with regard to married life, you do not want to get married to a person who is childish. You would want to get married to a person who is a little mature to that particular age. Particularly, the disparity happens when a person has second house Mercury and he is marrying another person who has a Saturn in the second house. So huge difference in the way they react to situations, respond to situations, and talk to each other. The communication, will be very, very abstract. So I'm not going to the third house, house of communication for Mercury. It's a fantastic position to be placed. So let us go to the sixth house. I am coming from first, second, and the sixth. These are the important houses. I have discussed about why I am going through these houses in detail in my first discussion when me and my wife, we were sitting and discussing about how to, discuss this particular topic of planets and how they involve in married life. So that video I will be putting in the, attaching in my last end screen. So please click over that and you can watch that to understand why I have chosen these six houses in particular. So childishness, difficulty. So sixth house, they love mental challenges, they love puzzles, they love solving problems, they love research. They do not want to do the same routine job. So if you come to know about this particular thing with the Mercury in the sixth house for a native, so then while matching the charts, it's easier to match to a chart to a person who is also not very sober. It should not be that a person does not want to do anything and simply wants to go to a routine job, getting married to a person who wants mental challenges. So that will be a huge difference between, when we talk about what I call as, physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual, and intellectual. Here I am talking about Mercury, which is very clearly related to only these two. Psychological and intellectual. So I am not talking about the physical challenges here. Mental challenges are there, some emotional problems are there. Most of the times these people, if Mercury is strong, they are unemotional. If it is weak, they are fearful. It's not that they are emotional, they are having the fear. Some OCD problems like that, some problems of bipolarity and all these things happen when Mercury is totally gone, along with Moon and Rahu, all these combinations. People suffer from identity problems. They suffer from mental difficulties. But I am not going into that. Let us talk positive things today. Most of them, but anyway, I have written some negatives also. So they love to solve puzzles. They love debates. And in a healthy way, they love debates. If Mercury becomes a little, cranky because of its position in the sixth house, it's not a good position for Mercury to be in the sixth, because these people do not fight for their rights. They only talk, simply talk without that much of real action put into it. So it's like when they talk, but if it goes to a particular level, they'll simply come out of it. They'll tell, I don't want to have any conflict. So they don't want to get into conflicts. So this is a bad position for Mercury in the sixth house, but still it will give some difficulties with regard to married life, because these are little dangerous things when happens. They are lethargic. They are having a weak constitution in the body, so they do not want to move around. They always want to sit in a place. Physically a little weak. So they argue and they become a little cranky. Keep on telling the same thing, and frustration will increase to the other party. So this is not such a great position for a happy married life, as Mercury in the sixth house, until unless the seventh house is very well posited and the seventh lord is strong. So in the seventh, Mercury loves this position. Seventh house and 10th house, Mercury loves that position. Why? Because 10th house is the Karmasthana, 9th and 10th, Mercury becomes very strong. It gains the Digbala. So, 7th house, a fantastic position for Mercury, for it loves business, investments, progress, money making. So, they want to do that. So, they are business minded. They want to do investments. They want to earn a lot of money doing lot of transactions. They are good in communication minded. So these people are good in marketing. They are good in selling any thought. So they can sell an idea and make money. So they would love to have a working spouse, who can contribute time in job and business and into ideologies and thoughts. They would not want a woman or a man, if it is a girl's chart, the girl doesn't want a man who does not sit and talk to her, communicate with her in an equal level of psychological and intellectual understanding. Very important. So if the intellectuality does not match, better not get married. So the marriage, suddenly sometimes happens, and then they come to know that there is a lot of difference between the husband and the wife with regard to intellectual compatibility. It breaks down. So I have seen a lot of marriages go down because of that. They feel that it's not connecting. So that connection has to happen. If Mercury in the seventh house, for a person, he will have to get married to a person who has a moon, a Mercury, or a fast moving planet in the seventh house. If you have a dead planet like Saturn in the seventh house, which is a very good placement for Saturn because it's west, it gains the the Digbala. But still, you can understand how heavy the Saturn becomes in the seventh and how light the seventh house becomes when Mercury is there. So that disparity should not be there. So I am talking in a very different way, in a very different ideology today. I am not doing the same thing what I did earlier, but still, it gives a lot of insight into a character or a behavior of a person, which is very important to understand a married life. Okay, eighth house. These people are very secretive. They become introverts and they have aspirations inside them. They have a lot of things, earnings. Now I want this, I want to become like this, I want that, but they will not spell it out. They will not even tell. They will keep everything to themselves and they expect things to happen. This is a very, very difficult thing to actually solve in a married life. You know, as in Hindi, they keep telling मैंने सोचा था आप अपने आप कर लोगे. So how can a person know the aspirations of the other person by meditation or what? So intellectually, the wife or the spouse is expecting the husband or the wife to know what he or she wants. How can that happen? Until unless thoroughly you have fallen in love and understood the person, then also it's so difficult to understand. So it is like they don't tell, but they expect. You should have done this to me. I would have been happy if you had taken me out today. I was expecting. How can you expect? You should tell. It's better you tell, you ask. So particularly when Mercury is there in the eighth house, these people keep things to themselves and they want things to happen and they have a lot of desire. They go into depression also if things don't happen, and they want to be rich, or to be treated as one who is rich. They are unemotional and they do not reciprocate with emotion. So the point here, is that if a person who has a fast moving planet like Mercury in the eighth house gets married to a person who has a Rahu in the eighth house, let's say a person who has Rahu in the eighth house will openly ask, I want this. A Mars in the eighth house, oh my god, they will directly ask. Or else they will do it. They will not even ask you whether you will join me or not. Very aggressive planets like Mars and Rahu in the eighth house will never match with a planet like Mercury in the eighth house. These people are very timid. They have the aggression inside, but they will never tell it out. So you need to go very, very close to them, give them all the extra care, make the situation rosy. Only then these people will open up and talk to you. So, married life, this is a very important factor. Okay, 12th house of all the houses, the bed comfort or the house where you interact with the nature, the five senses, how to, the taste buds, the sight, what you want to see, how you want to live your life, where all you want to tour, the places where you want to go. Mercury, not a good position in the 12th because it gives a lot of overthinking, things too much. If thinking too much is in the 12th house where you actually have to sleep, you will get this problem called as insomnia. They try to understand the world through intelligence. So that means whatever they trust and whatever they believe, and however the faith is actually blind, but they don't have these people in the 12th house. If Mercury is there, the faith will fall, they'll lose faith. Trust and belief at least they will have only when the particular topic has been proven to them, scientifically proven, or somehow in their language it has to be proven. So once they get the proof of that particular subject, they will trust that. So the same thing, if it is prone beyond their thing that okay, yes, this person is a good person, an honest person, only then they will believe. They'll have belief over that person and trust over that person. So they have trust issues, until they get the proof. Once they get the proof, they will never budge. They will tell, okay, I know that this person, I believe him. But other than that, they have a lot of issues with regard to trust and belief. That's a problem actually. So they have difficulty in physical intimacy. We all know that it's a very shy planet. Mercury is a very shy planet, and sitting in the house of bed comfort, very shy, and very difficult for that person to open up. There are many marriages fail because of incompatibility, physical incompatibility. In the traditional Kuta matching, we see that in Sri Dirga, we see that in Yoni Kuta, but still, how much ever you see in the matching level, you have to go to the chart level to understand the 12th house, how it is posited, what are the aspects over the 12th house, which are all the planets which are actually trying to, influence the 12th house. Whether there is Saturn's influence there, whether Rahu's influence there, what sort of need that person, physical need the person has. Sometimes a negative Mercury in the 12th house, very bad Mercury in the 12th house will make the person pervert. Perversion is a very dangerous thing to happen. So a pure planet like Mercury in the 12th house, a good position of Mercury in the 12th house, that is being its own house or exaltation position, that person doesn't want physical intimacy at all. He'll be like going into high level of intellectual understanding of this world. Who does not want, intelligence does not want any, there is no physical boundaries for intelligence. So, it's a very tough topic to discuss when Mercury is in the 12th house, a tough placement for Mercury. So, I also, if Mercury is weak, it's not that it is negative or positive, if it is weak in the 12th house, these people become miserly in attitude. They spend less, they don't give the freedom to the spouse. So all these factors are related to married life. If you don't give freedom to your spouse, how on earth you believe that you can gain trust of your spouse? Spouse will, he or she will start getting into depression. So thank you very much for today's class. I hope I have covered a subject which is a little tough to actually describe and uh, you know so thank you very much for